In the early days of the development of manga and anime, some cultural traditions greatly promoted its process. One of them was called the doujin culture, which refers to a group of people with common interests, activities, or hobbies. The manga association where Fujiko F. Fujio belonged to was actually the earliest doujin manga club. When these people got together to discuss common hobbies, they occasionally came up with some good ideas, and then they would work together to produce self-published creative works, such as manga, novels, etc. Many famous works appeared in this way. Another factor driving Japanese anime is its unique hot spring culture. I believe that viewers who like to watch Japanese anime now know that hot springs account for a part of current anime. Every time the characters have nothing to do or just won the lottery, they just go to the hot springs. On the one hand, these hot spring plots are intended to provide fan service to the viewers. The more viewers like it, the more they will implement it. On the other hand, soaking in hot springs are based on the creators' personal experiences. When anime production in the last century had not yet formed a templated routine, anime creators often went to hot springs together. Of course, they didn't go to the hot springs to peek at women or have a romantic encounter in there, as they write in their works. They did it for bragging rights. In those days, there were no mobile phones and no internets, and several uninspired men went to the hot springs to brag about themselves to each other, which was an interest of the animators at the time. It happens all too often that a fantastic idea pops up amidst a lot of nonsense and then inspires those creators. Therefore, the participants in the hot spring cases in Detective Conan are often novelists, directors, and the like. Among these hot spring lovers is the previously mentioned Miyazaki Hayao, who often invited others to join him in the hot springs, including some science fiction doujinshi fans who started a company called Gainax in the future, headed by Anno Hideaki. In 1995, Neon Genesis Evangelion, one of Japan's most influential anime, was born under this background. The background city in the anime is set in Tokyo 3. Many people will mistakenly think that the archetype of this area is based on Tokyo. It is actually based on Hakone, located in one of the hot spring resorts in Japan. This town is so close to Tokyo that many manga artists and animators travel here, and is literally a source of inspiration for those animators. Speaking of which, the reason Neon Genesis Evangelion won such awards was not just because of its plot or art style. Additionally, the narrative and freeze frame in the later episodes were not understood, and instead were criticized by people. Its real achievement lies in the context of its time. In the era with events such as Japan's economic collapse, the Great Hanshin earthquake, and Miyazaki Tsutomu filled the entire Japanese society with a negative, numb atmosphere, and spiritual life was empty. While Neon Genesis Evangelion's world-weary themed plot, exquisite battle scenes, and intricate religious symbolism seemed to fill the hearts of the Japanese people. But at the same time, the bloody plots in the later episodes made many Japanese parents dissatisfied, and one after another, they all had complaints about this anime. It's very rare for Neon Genesis Evangelion to achieve this kind of phenomenal polarization. In the last few episodes of the anime, the production team had no funds and received a lot of complaints. Under such great pressure to continue to create, it was inevitable that the following art style had a lot of freeze frames and unknown pictures. As a result, this had instead led to a stream of consciousness style that would be borrowed by other anime works in the future. The two heroines in the anime, Asuka and Ayanami Rei, are known as the ancestors of tsunderes and kuderes because of their unique and charismatic personalities. I believe that if the internet in that era was as developed as it is now, the quarrel between anime fans over these two characters would definitely be no less than the battle for best girl in recent years. Tsundere refers to the pronoun of the characters who display a tough and arrogant attitude in order to cover up their shyness, also known as domestic violence girls. This kind of personality is very common in 21st century female anime characters. There are even cast voice actors like Kugimiya Rie specially utilized for these tsundere characters. However, this kind of personality is not commonly seen recently. After all, a tsundere's personality is difficult to grasp. If a tsune is too arrogant, the viewer will feel that they are simply unreasonable lunatics. The vibe is pretty much, I like you, so I'm going to bully you. With the change of time, they will gradually become deres and dependent on the protagonist's personality, and many viewers like this excessive plot. Eris in Mushokutensei is the best example. In fact, like Tenchi Muyo, Asuka gave influence to future generations instead of being the first tsundere. Minami in Touch or Vegeta in Dragon Ball have the potential to become tsunderes and earlier than her, while kuderes refers to those cold female characters at the beginning without any expressions. In subsequent interactions, they'll slowly begin to acquire and be kind of an emotional character. In addition to these two more well-known anime proper nouns, there is Dandere, which refers to shy introverts, as well as yanderes who have a very possessive personality towards someone. Usually, characters with this personality will not be very stable. If they're a cute girl, then she's a yandere. If not, then she's mentally ill. Dere refers to a character who is very energetic and cheerful. All of these deres belong to the phenomenon of overdevelopment within moe culture. In other words, the appearance of Neongenesisevangelion makes up for the spiritual world of teenagers in some alternative aspects, making them feel and long for a perfect partner, which would be from today's popular waifu culture. So many achievements were only a part of it. The production committee model Gainax tried with Neon Genesis Evangelion was its biggest contribution to this industry. Before it appeared, the state of original Japanese anime was very difficult. No investor was willing to pay for an anime that was not based on the original. If the anime did not sell well, then it would basically be GG for the anime company. The production committee model created after Neon Genesis Evangelion allowed original anime to refer to this model, allowing those who sold toys, CDs, and merchandise to share those risks. Now, the XX projects and XX partners we see during an anime's opening are the names of those production committees, and they basically take names that are very close to the works. The advantage of this model is that it reduces a lot of pressure on those animators. The disadvantage is that works produced according to this process will be subject to some restrictions, and it is difficult for the creator to write freely. Although this model had accelerated the commercialization of Japanese anime, there is no doubt that Neon Genesis Evangelion had saved this backwater of the anime industry, as its achievements are fully in line with its BD sales, and it's no exaggeration to call it the most influential anime. Finally, we come to 1996, a year when the industry was facing a recovery, and once again, the first players of the era were the magical girls genre. The anime Cardcaptorsakura was created by a very famous doujin team called Clamp. I personally like the works of this team, as they can always take an already fully developed genre to a whole new level. Like the magical girl genre, after Sailor Moon and Saint Tail, magical girl genre works had almost matured completely, and future works just needed to follow in their footsteps. As a result, a year later, Cardcaptorsakura popped out and added a lot of new things, such as yaoi and lesbian elements that would not disgust the viewers at all, as well as the heroine changing her clothes almost every episode, which marked a new milestone for the magical girl genre. The works of robots and humans in love had long been the subject in the streets, and then they drew Chobits. The psychic work that emphasized equal trading already had Pet Shop of Horrors, and then they drew XXX Holic. Embarking on a long journey to collect items, Dragonball, Inuyasha, I don't know how many times they have crossed that bridge. And then they drew Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle. That passionate doujin team had strong plasticity, and the Toho project released in 1997, Higurashi When They Cry, as well as Tsukihime, the origin of the Fate series, can all be considered doujin works from the beginning. In addition to doujin works and hot spring culture, another famous symbol of Japan had also begun to influence anime, and that was games. Also by one of the most famous game companies, Nintendo. Super Mario Bros. Peach-hime Kyoshutsu Daisakusen, released in 1986, was the first anime film based on a video game. Then, Nintendo knew that anime was excellent publicity for the game, and released the Pokemon anime in 1997, and received great welcome and popularity. Since I'm talking about Nintendo and Pokemon, let me tell you some interesting facts about them. In fact, Nintendo was founded in 1889 before World War I. At that time, not many people even knew the word manga. At the beginning of its establishment, it also cooperated with Disney to launch card games, and even operated love hotels. When the Pokemon game was first released in 1996, it was not an immediate success, and it was even accused of making money by having two similar games at once. Then, 9 months later, Pokemon's first manga, Pokemon Pocket Monsters, was serialized, and the fun story and adventure attracted a lot of kids to buy the game. At the same time, because of the way and method of the 151st Easter egg Pokemon Mew was obtained, both sets of works sold very well, and this distribution method had also become the game's tradition. It's fair to say that the success of the original Pokemon franchise was aided by the manga. On the other hand, the Pokemon anime had also permanently changed some of the rules of film and television. On December 16, 1997, Pokemon was broadcasting the 38th episode named Deno Senshi Porygon, in which the Porygon was shot by a missile. Then, red and blue light alternated, causing many young viewers to experience epileptic seizures, blurred vision, headaches, dizziness, nausea, and other symptoms. A total of more than 150 people were sent to the hospital. Japanese media dubbed the event Pokemon Shock. After this, the Pokemon anime was postponed for 4 months. Porygon did not appear in future anime, and Porygon 2, as well as Porygon Z, took its place. This incident also led to some new regulations for future Japanese anime. Flashing images, especially those with red, should not flicker faster than 3 times per second. If the image does not have red, it still should not flicker faster than 5 times per second. Flashing images should not be displayed for a total duration of more than 2 seconds. Stripes, whirls, and concentric circles should not take up a large part of the television screen. In addition, in many modern anime, when there is a fierce battle or strong light, the screen will always suddenly darken. It is also for this reason that TV stations also remind viewers to watch far away from the TV in a bright room. If you are watching on the Blu-ray disc or BD version, instead of TV, you will find that the screen brightness is normal. The influence of doujin, hot springs, and games on anime is actually far more than what I had said, and what I said was just a list of the contents. In any case, in the next video, we would officially usher in a new century, and Japanese anime would also enter a new era, the confusion at the beginning of the new century.